Waldo Politics is now live streaming. Just chatting. Will the big beautiful budget bill ruin our justice system? Waldo Politics is now live streaming. Just chatting. Oh hi KBP. What it is? That's fantastic. Congrats if you won, condolences if you didn't. Getting started soon. Toss any links to cool stories into the Discord.
Turn the friggin' frogs gay!
I also love this game, Nick.
Oh, hi. Hello. How you doing? My name is Waldo, and I am here to feel the politics with you. What do we got here? We got Nick Cool, a passionate gamer who loves this game. Bad news, boss. Politics is a game, but there are a lot of rules. The red team gets to ignore them all. That's part of the game, and there are no winners in the game of politics ever. No one ever wins. We all continue to just lose and suffer for eternity. But I appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks for you and your robot coming in and pressing the follow button. I appreciate that. Thank you. Hi, everybody. How's it going? I am what is today? It's Wednesday, so I've got a handful of super fun links to look at. We've got some news things to see. We've got some rants to do. We've got some funny videos to look at of politicians doing dumb things, and then yeah, that'll be it. That's what I got on board for the night. So yeah, will the big beautiful busty beautiful budget bill ruin everything? Probably. It's a big mess, and I don't know if it's passed yet. I don't know if it's going to pass the House. We're still fighting around it in the House, and then it's never going to pass the Senate. So it's fun to argue about, I suppose. So that's a thing. That's what we can do. We can look at that and see where the Republicans are with that thing. And yeah, the problem with politics, as usual, is that nobody really wants to do it. The people who are in charge, Mike Johnson, doesn't want to be doing this. He doesn't like it. He knows the budget is nerd shit, and he doesn't want to do nerd shit, but he has to because he accidentally won somehow. So he's in charge, and he has to run all the things, and he has to get all the stuff passed, and he has to get these things done. And so as he tries to do that, the rules kick in. He gets to ignore a lot of them, and they are going to ignore a few of them. But sometimes there's like actual reality that keeps biting him in the ass. He hates that reality stuff. Mike Johnson, not a big fan of reality. He don't like it. And when it bites him in the ass, it slows him down, goofs him up, and then his boss, Donald Trump, yells at him and tells him to ignore the reality and move forward anyway and just tell people a bunch of lies, and then he does, and then they move forward eventually. And then it'll go to the Senate, and then it'll get shot down. It'll be a whole thing. That's why I'm telling you, there are no winners in the game of politics, only losers. Myself and you in chat included. If you're here watching a YouTube streamer or a Twitch streamer, you fall into that category with me. So I'm glad you're here. I appreciate you being here, sticking around and being cool with me. If you are in Twitch chat, the robot will read your text out loud.
Robot.
Lovely. Isn't that great? But if it gets too distracting, I will turn it off.
I do feel like we are losing as a nation.
Absolutely right. And everybody loses. There is no winning. there's mediocre, there's breaking even, and then there's losing. And then there's breaking even, and then there's losing. And then there's breaking even, and then there's losing. And if you're lucky and you try real hard, you break even. That's the system, and it's the only choice we have. We either try real hard to break even, or we keep losing. I'm gonna try real hard to break even with you tonight. So let's do that. What is first in the thing? What is first? Here we go. We've got, oh yeah, okay. So I made a short about this today. I think I made it last night, and then it popped up on my YouTube channel today. So if you saw it, I appreciate you. I love you, and I know that you saw it, or you didn't, because I can look at the analytics. It was very funny, very stupid. Here is Kristi Noem getting the law wrong. Who is she and what does she do? Well, she's in charge of the DHS. You know, pretty important person. Maybe, perhaps, she should know what the laws are. I know. Shocking. Wild, crazy idea from the evil liberal leftist Waldo. The people in charge of the government should know what the laws are, but she doesn't, and we're about to watch it. So let's see it.
So, Secretary Noem, what is habeas corpus?
Well, habeas corpus is a constitutional right that the president has to be able to remove people from this country and suspend their right to...
Let me stop you, ma'am.
Nope. That's not what that is.
I think this was on purpose. I don't think this was a case of idiocy but malicious intent.
No, I don't think so. She doesn't know what it means. Republicans and conservatives don't know what words mean. I have been complaining about this for a couple of weeks, and it's been kind of the focus of my ire for the past couple of weeks, is that they say things but don't know what they mean. They use terms and words without comprehending what those terms and words mean. They attach a feeling to a word, and if you ask them what that word means, they'll just make some shit up. and kind of describe to you the feeling they have about that word. So let's hear it again.
Well, habeas corpus is a constitutional right that the president has.
Nope, not a constitutional right that the president has. The Constitution doesn't tell the president what rights he has. Why is my camera so dark today? I don't know. Did I forget to turn on the light? They're all on. We'll pop this one up a little bit higher. No, that looks worse. Well, dark stream today. We're going to pretend that we're in a darker timeline. It's a darker time. It's the dark timeline, you guys. Dark and gritty. We're going grimdark, where the Constitution tells the president what rights they have.
To be able to remove people from this country and suspend their right to...
Let me stop you, ma'am.
Like how Trump seems to think seeking asylum means they came from an insane asylum.
Right, exactly, any of it. He never heard the word asylum except in the explanation of an insane asylum. So when they said that the migrants were seeking asylum, he got confused. There is no evidence that anybody has sent any mentally ill people from some sort of institution. They emptied it out. They emptied out their prisons and their insane asylum, sent them over our border. No evidence of that happening anywhere. No one can find any record of it happening, yet we have to hear about it 7 times a day. But yeah, she's about to get schooled a little bit.
That's incorrect.
President
Habeas
Lincoln
corpus,
used it.
Excuse me. Habeas corpus is the legal principle that requires that the government provide a public reason for detaining and imprisoning people.
So it's a control of the government. It's not a right that the president has. It is a limitation on the government. She doesn't know that. She's head of the DHS. She can deport your ass. She can make your life miserable. She can kick in my door right now. Unless there were some sort of constitution or law constricting her power. Habeas corpus is a restriction on government power, and she thinks it is a right that the president has. It's some sort of superpower that he has, not you, not the law to constraining the government, preventing it from harming you. No. She thinks it's a superpower that the government has and can turn on you any damn time they feel like it.
At any point.
A right that, no, she thinks it's a superpower. She doesn't know what the word rights mean. She doesn't know. She said it's a right the president has. That's not how rights work. Rights are for the people. The government protects your rights. It doesn't give them out. It doesn't have them. You have the rights. The government writes down the ones that are most important and tries to protect them from anybody else, from anybody trying to take them from you, from any other foreign government trying to take these things from you. And habeas corpus is part of that. It prevents a liar within the government arresting you for no goddamn reason and throwing you in a hole without explanation. Habeas corpus is what they abandoned when they threw those people into El Salvador. They picked up the Venezuelans, skipped habeas corpus, threw them in El Salvador and Gulag. So they have abandoned habeas corpus, and she doesn't mind because she doesn't know what it is. She's too stupid. Republicans often are too dumb to know what they're talking about. I think there's more. Let's see.
If not for that protection, the government could simply arrest people, including American citizens, and hold them indefinitely for no reason.
Exactly the problem. Habeas corpus protects people. It's not a superpower that Donald Trump has and can enact whenever he wants. It's not an eyeball laser. It's not metal sharp claws that go snicked. You know, this isn't some superpower that the president just gets. It is a structure within our properly functioning government that protects people. But she's not in government. The Kristi Noem is not in government to protect people. Fuck no, she ain't. She is there to hurt the people the conservatives don't like. That is her purpose. That is why she is there. Hurt the people conservatives don't like.
Habeas corpus is the foundational right that separates free societies like America from police states like North Korea. As a senator from the live free or die state, this matters a lot to me and my constituents and to all Americans. So Secretary Noem, do you support the core protection that habeas corpus provides, that the government must provide a public reason in order to detain and imprison someone?
Yeah, I support habeas corpus. I also recognize that the President of the United States has the authority under the Constitution to decide if it should be suspended or not.
It has never
Let us be clear, though, that this president...
It has never been done without approval of Congress. Even Abraham Lincoln got retroactive approval from Congress. So, Secretary...
Yeah, she didn't know any of that either. That's Kristi Noem. She just wants to hurt people. Habeas corpus, yep. She didn't know what it was. She got grilled. Man, if I were going to sit in front of Congress and stuff like that, I would Google some things. I would have some stuff studied and ready. The problem is that she thinks she already knows everything. Kristi Noem thinks she knows literally everything because she is filled with Republican belief. Republican belief crowds out actual information in your brain, throws all the info right out, pushes it all out of the way.
And what happens after this grilling? Fucking nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. She looks like an idiot. She doesn't know how the laws work. She doesn't know how the system works. She doesn't know what her job is. She doesn't know common things that she ought to know.
It's all show.
And nothing happens. Now, is that because the Democrats suck? Yes. This is Senator Hassan. She is right, correct, intelligent, and making good points, but she's not allowed to do anything because they're in the minority.
Less than nothing. The next Republican that talks to her will say thank you on repeat.
Absolutely right. These are for show. I dig that. But it is good to show the people how stupid Kristi Noem is. That would be a lovely thing to show people. We have done that here. Now, the people, you, me, the people who vote for Kristi Noem, the people who vote Republicans, need to hold her responsible by removing their support for her. Call their senators, say impeach her. Call their representatives, say we don't like her anymore. Tell Donnie on X and Twitter and Truth Social that she's dumb and she needs to be removed. But the people, half the people would do that, but he would ignore them because they're the wrong people. The other half will thank her and tell her what a great job she's doing and promise her a new job at Fox News.
But the people that need to see it don't see this. They see the spin Fox News gives them.
Right. And so how do we get anything done when half the country can't do anything and the other half won't? Because they like it. There's a lot of people who heard her say that the president has the authority to and the right to kick people out of the country, and they cheered. Woo, yeah, get it. You tell them, girl. Get rid of that woke crap. They don't even know what those words mean. They don't know how dangerous it is. They assume, because they've been told by the right-wing media, that these people are here to harm them. They're not. They're actually just here to live and be people. And within a couple of generations, they're just Americans. It doesn't make a big difference. The grandkids of immigrants are just, like everybody else. But they hate that idea. Wouldn't be America anymore. It's an old, well, I'm not going to go off topic. I'm not going to derail. She doesn't know what the words mean. She's unqualified for her job. I don't want to hear a conservative ever talk about meritocracy ever again. She did not get the job she has because she's the smartest person in the room. She was not the most qualified person to be running the DHS. She got hired because she is willing to look into a camera and tell you lies that Donald Trump approves of. If you are willing to tell lies for Donald Trump, first of all, you get paid. What you see is Watching with Mom. Go Waldo, thanks. Thanks for being here. Hi, Mom. If you are willing to tell lies for Donald Trump, you will get paid. First of all. Second, you'll get bumped up in the algorithm because bullshit pays way more than truth telling. Lying to people is always just raking in the dough. I don't know why, and it's I assume it's something to do with advertising and algorithms. But if you're telling the truth, you don't get paid.
Throw a dart at any of Trump's cabinet. All of them unqualified.
Absolutely right. They are not qualified. They are there because of their loyalty. They are there because of their willingness to believe the lies and spread the misinformation. That's why they are there. They are not there because they are qualified. They are not there because they are competent. They are not there because they are the best in their field. Their field is actually TV bullshit. Maybe they are actually good in that, but I don't want the head of DHS to be the best at TV bullshit. I want them to be the best at defending the homeland, the Department of Homeland Security. I want them to be security experts, maybe. I want them to comprehend what's going on and know what they're doing and how things are working, not be cute and attractive on Fox News, because that's why she was picked. That's the other reason she was picked, because the people on Fox News like the look of her. Okay? That's not meritocracy. It's not. So that's what I have to say about that.
Gag.
Well, to the Fox News viewer, that is a smexy lady right there. I mean, compare her to any of the other 90-year-old male senators. She's a breath of fresh air. She's a damn spring chicken compared to the Democrat who just died like the other day, who was in charge of a committee, and we could have had AOC in charge of that committee, but he died. He took the spot, and then he died. He knew he had cancer. He knew he only had a few months to live, but he took the spot anyway because it was his turn. And now the Republicans have the majority on that council, on that thing, and it makes me mad. We could have had AOC in there doing a better job for longer. But no, that's not how Dems work. Dems are wieners who don't like to win. They want to be in second place. That's the other problem with all of these politics, is we don't win. Remember, there is no winning. There's breaking even and there's losing. And Democrats are like, yeah, let's lose. This camera is entirely too dark. We are about to start on a tech stream. What is a tech stream, Waldo? Well, it's when Waldo doesn't know how computers work or wires and tries to fix something midstream. It always ends badly. It always goes poorly. And I might have to disconnect the stream and start it back up because my camera is way too dark. So I'm going to reach under my desk. I'm going to unplug it and I'm going to plug it back in. That generally solves the camera issue, but it might not come back. You see, it might not come back. It might not pop back right back up. So I'm going to do this really quick. Feel free to laugh at me, insult me, and just belittle me in the comments. That's fine. That's cool. That's a good time. So I'm going down.
Waldo Dark 30.
All right. I think you can hear me, but oh God, look at my forehead. That's horrible. Who would ever want to look at that? Wonder what is on Kick or Twitch. Wonder if you guys can hear me at all. I have no idea what's going on anymore. I'm so lost. I hit F5 on the OBS, but it didn't work, I don't think. I think whenever we start OBS.
I hear you.
You can hear me. Yeah, cool. And you see my forehead. Fantastic. So I'm going to close OBS real fast. Oh, hi. I might be back. Now it's too bright. Good God. I can't catch a break, can I? Okay. Bring that down a little bit. That's about what it should look like. That's what it should look like. Now I'm looking at the stream chat. I'm looking at Twitch. I'm peace on Twitch. Then we wait about a second and then I should see my fingers on Twitch. There they are. See? Okay, cool. And then there's the Kick. It's there. Okay, great. And then YouTube is behind as usual because it always is. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're fine. I think everything went really, really well. You might have to hit the F5. I'm not sure.
We're back, a Waldo adventure.
Cool. All right. So yeah, there we go. That worked. All right. Text stream succeeded. I did it. I'm so smart. Except not really. Because I just kind of bang the chords together until a stream comes out. That's all I do. I'm no super genius. I just kind of slap the chords and computers together until something comes out. So go on over to the YouTube page, and you can watch all of my amazing horrible content. There's my YouTube link. You can watch old videos. I take the all of these streams, I condense them down into bite-sized nuggets over on YouTube, and I take out all the uhs and the ums and the awkward pauses so that it works better for the YouTube. So go on over there, go on over to YouTube, press break the thumb, smash the bell, stab the subscribe button, and flame and burn someone in the comment section, because the YouTube algorithm is powered by hate. So any hatred you spread around there will make my numbers go up. So I would appreciate that. Thank you. Go on over there. Or if you want to leave stories for me to read, you can do that on the Discord. Or the Dicrod. Ooh, Discord. You can go to the Discord. Yeah, that's it. And then you can go on over to the Discord and look at all of the super cool things that are there. You can leave links. You can leave photos. I'm going to have some photos, I think, of Bobo. So Bobo, the baby bark boy, is on summer vacation. He is not here. You will not hear any bark boys for a little while because they are on summer vacation. And I will try and get some photos of them on their desert adventures to put in the Bark Boy channel on the Discord. If you have your own Bark Boy, by all means, throw the pictures in there. It'll be a good time when we can talk about our Bark Boys. Okay, so everything is up, everything is running, everything is fine and cool, and nothing is ruined. All right, let's keep going. What else? Yeah, no Bobo and Stream. Now, I'm sorry, KBP. I know how much you love him, but he's on summer vacation. And yeah, he'll probably be back in a while. It'll be a while before I get him back, but I'm hoping to get some photos and put them in the Discord. Let's see what is going on. So we did that part right there. And hey, look, over 50 of the Venezuelans imprisoned in El Salvador came to the U.S. legally. That's an important distinction. Never violated immigration law. Amazing. Because you see, Kristi Noem doesn't know this, but if you put the people in front of a judge with a lawyer, you can find out what their crimes are and what they're accused of. That's what this habeas corpus thing is about. These Venezuelans didn't get habeas corpus, so they are in a jail, even though they never violated the immigration laws. That, I think, is a problem. And it would be a smaller problem if we had just sent them back to their country. I might not be screaming about it. I would be calling them names and saying that it's not very nice and immigrants make us better. But I wouldn't be calling it a gulag if they just dropped them off in their home country. We didn't drop them off in their home country. We took them to a third country that they'd never been to and locked them in jail for an unknown amount of time.
But Waldo, they have scary tattoos. That makes them bad guys.
Some of them do have tattoos. Some of them don't. We don't know how many of them have tattoos until we think maybe they got picked up by ICE, and then we go and ask their family and check for their stuff on Facebook, because nobody knows, because we didn't run it through a court. If we ran it through court and we gave them habeas corpus, Kristi Noem, I know you're listening. I know you're paying attention. Kristi Noem, listen. The reason you run things through court is to make them legal. We give the people all the legal rights. The people have the rights, not the president. The people have the rights. Okay? That's the important part. The people have the rights, not the president. He has some rights, sure, but the people's rights are more important than the president, but she doesn't know that. Again, she doesn't know what these words mean. Rights are just whatever she likes. If she likes a thing, it's a right. If she likes water, it's a right. If she doesn't like you, you don't get the right of water. No, it doesn't make any sense. If they like it, it's a right. If they don't, it's not. So let's read about this one here. Shortly after the U.S. government illegally and unconstitutionally transported about 240 Venezuelans to be imprisoned in El Salvador's horrific terrorism prison on March 15th, CBS News published their names. A subsequent CBS News investigation found that 75% of the men on the list had no criminal records in the United States or abroad. Even in their home country, they didn't have a criminal record. Less attention has been paid to the fact that dozens of these men have never violated immigration laws either. The U.S. government not only detained these men, the U.S. government not only denied these men due process, it also generally failed to provide their families, their attorneys, or the public any information about what it alleges these men did to deserve incarceration in El Salvador. Incarceration in El Salvador. We didn't just take them there and drop them off. We locked them up. In fact, it has never been published. It has never published a comprehensive list of individuals that it has sent to El Salvador, and it refused to verify the CBS News list. Journalists have already discovered that the list obtained by CBS News was incomplete. There are some people in there that we don't know about. If the United States government is picking people up and putting them in jail, I want a fucking paper trail. Why am I a crazy person?
Waldo Politics is now live. Streaming Just Chatting. Will the big beautiful budget bill ruin our justice system?
Thanks, Robot. You're way behind. I appreciate you. Why am I a crazy? Why does that seem like a crazy position? Why does the right not want that to be the correct position? If the government picks you up, I want a paper trail. If the DHS arrests somebody, make a paper trail. Put them in front of a judge. Honestly, they don't want that. The conservatives, the right wing, the Republicans do not want a paper trail for the people our government is arresting. They don't want it because they're the bad guys, you see. They don't want you to know. They don't want you to know what your government is doing. They don't want me to know what their government is doing, our government is doing. They don't want you to know how, if mistakes are made. If mistakes are made, you would determine that through paperwork. We would find out. We would see what the answers are. But they don't like answers. They like feelings. They like accusations. The accusation is all that matters. The accusation of being a El Salvadoran Tren de Aragua supervillain is fun and easy to make. I can do it all day long. KBP, you're an El Salvador, you're a Venezuelan supervillain, a member of Tren de Aragua. See, I can do it all day long. Marco Rubio, himself, literally, the head of Tren de Aragua. I can say it all damn day. And if I had the authority and the power, only because it's the truest thing ever. Yeah, exactly. I'm allowed to say it. It's a lie, and it's based on nothing, and I just pulled it out of my ass. You shouldn't arrest KBP or Marco Rubio based on my words alone. That's stupid. That's incredibly dangerous. That is incredibly reckless and going to be filled with all kinds of people abusing that system. So we arrested these people, 240 of them, based on, you don't know what it's based on. I don't know what it's based on. No one knows because they didn't keep records. They didn't put anything together. They didn't run it through a judge. They didn't write it down. They had the cops pick up the people they felt like were criminals and threw them in a gulag. That's it. The feelings of the cops. That's where we are now. The cops feel like you're a criminal. You go to jail. Skip the warrants, skip the proper arrest procedure, skip the Miranda rights, skip the lawyer, skip the one phone call, skip the jail, skip the trial, skip the judges, skip the lawyers.
They photoshopped some characters on someone's knuckles.
They Photoshop shit on your fingers after the fact to prove that you are a criminal. That comes after you get there. After they skip all the regular process, they ship you off to another country, tell us they don't know where you are, and they could never possibly get you back, because how could anybody ever find a human being? And then they lie to you, lie to the American people about their tattoos, lie to the American people about what they did, what they didn't do, what's going on and what's happening. They lie constantly to make their base feel better. All politics are based on feelings. Why is Kristi Noem lying to you? Because she wants her base to feel secure and safe and warm and cuddly and just delightful with America, so that they will give her more money. They will give Donald Trump more money, more power, more authority. Donnie lies constantly directly to the cameras, because that is what his people want to hear. The MAGA faithful, the people who believe in him, who think that he is, they don't even think, they believe the words he's saying are true, want those words to be true. They want those words to be true. And because they want it to be true, when he says it, it makes them feel good. Doesn't matter that it's not based on facts. They hate facts. They hate logic. But it feels good to pretend that that's what they've got on their side. Moreover, in most cases, the men never knew the evidence against them, or what they were being removed to El Salvador, or that they were being removed to El Salvador. Finally, the U.S. and Salvadoran governments won't allow the men to talk to anyone, so there is no way to interview them directly. Given the total lack of transparency, didn't Johnny say that he's the most transparent president ever? Him and Elon love that word. They don't know what it means. They don't know what the word transparency means. If I'm being transparent, my name is Fred Rogers. It's my real name. I live on 123 Elm Street. I hang out with Daniel Tiger and the king. What was the king's name? The king of make-believe? The king of make-believe land? And the trolley car? Yeah, and I have been making wholesome, delightful children's programming since the 1960s. I am Mr. Rogers from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I'm being transparent with you, okay? I'm finally coming out and letting you know that's my real name, Fred Rogers. And I'm being transparent. And I don't know why you're upset with me, okay? I'm being transparent. That's not transparency. It's a lie. It's a big fat whopper of a lie. None of that is true. You know it's not true. But if you feel like you really want it to be true, you might believe it. You might repeat it. Transparency means offering evidence that everyone can see. Transparency means that you put things in front of a judge for everyone to see. Transparency is what habeas corpus is all about. Habeas corpus is a transparency device for making sure that you're not just black-bagged and thrown into a hole. The government has to prove that you did the things. The government has to prove that it has given you your due process. The government has to prove that it has been giving you your rights. Transparency is not looking into the camera and lying your ass off. That's not transparency. Donnie doesn't know that. Donnie doesn't know. It's a theme that we're going for over the past few weeks. Donnie doesn't know. How the imprisoned Venezuelans came to America. Sadly, no information regarding 1 in 3 of the men could be found online. So a lot of them, we don't know how they got here. And that is normal when you're talking about immigrants. It's entirely possible that they came here unlawfully. It's not impossible. And if we were running a proper system, we could figure out what they would need to become legal citizens and make them do it. We could. But we don't want to, because half of America, maybe more than half, hates all immigrants. because right-wing media has poisoned their brains. Biden deported lots of people. Obama deported lots of people. Why did they do that? Because right-wing media has convinced damn near everybody in the country that immigrants are bad. Immigrants are poison. They're stealing your jobs. They're stealing your unemployment. They're stealing your Social Security. They're stealing your house. They're stealing your land. They're stealing your daughters. They're stealing everything from you. And so we have to remove them. And even if a few innocent people get dragged off.
We're almost all descended from immigrants.
Absolutely right. America is a country of immigrants, except for the Native Americans, and even they, if you go back really crazy far, came from somewhere else. Everybody came from somewhere else. There's no such thing as a non-immigrant. The entire system doesn't make any sense. They just go off of whatever they feel like. If they feel like you're an immigrant, you are. If they feel like you're not, you're not. White people are not native to America. I have immigrant roots somewhere. I don't know where they are, but they're somewhere. And I know this. That's fine. Who cares? It doesn't make any difference. This is the weakest of political discourse. It really is. This is I don't mean weakest. I mean the dumbest, maybe. Lots of people care about who they are and where they were born and how their team is great and how their race is superior. Lots of people are like that. I think it's dumb. But you can't break them out of this because it is so ingrained in their brain. It is very, very monkey-pilled, I suppose. It is very ape-like behavior. And what we have to do is stop being apes. Be a human. Be better. Recognize the ape part of your brain and say, no, we're not doing that. We're not going to dislike this person just because they look different. We're not afraid of new people. That's silly. Ape brain, shut up. Human brain is in charge now. And we need to practice with that. That isn't something that comes easily. You have to practice. I got off the topic. What the hell was the talking? I'm talking about apes for some reason. For 48% of the 174, that's a dumb way to structure a sentence. For many, the only information is Facebook or Instagram posts from their mothers pleading for information about their children. About 100 relatives also signed a letter to Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele, but it contains no case-specific information. The government calls them all illegal aliens, but of the 90 cases where the method of crossing is known, 50 men report that they came legally to the United States. 50 innocent people are in the gulag. Conservatives, Republicans, 50 innocent people are in a jail, maybe forever. We don't know how long they're in jail for because we didn't give them a sentence because we skipped that whole judge part. You know, we skipped all that and just immediately threw them into a jail in another country. How many innocent people being harmed will it take to make you feel better? Because that's what this is. This isn't about crime. These people didn't commit crimes. It's not about gang membership. There's no evidence that they were in a gang. This is about conservative feelings and nothing else. They feel like these people are monsters and they need to be away from them. That is a feeling that right-wing media has given them. That is a feeling that Republicans have pushed onto their people. That is a feeling that they feel and tell me in my comment sections. That is a feeling that they then yell at Joe Biden. And then Joe Biden, instead of telling them, no, that's stupid, you're stupid, quit being stupid, become educated, and then put together some sort of government plan to educate these people, he just says, oh, yeah, you feel like they're bad? Okay, well, I'll deport them. Coddling and holding, I don't know, how do you say it? Mollycoddling, suppose. Coddling Republican fantasies is killing our country. Listening to them and then giving them the benefit of the doubt is fine. But when they lie, you tell them that's not true. That is incorrect. That is a lie. Stop saying incorrect things. Because we can't survive a fascist revolution. The whole joke of 2 + 2 is 5. I'm going to read that from 1984, since nobody's ever read a book. Here's the quotes. Let's do it because we're in 1984. George Orwell's 1984. The phrase 2 + 2 = 5 is a powerful symbol of the totalitarian regime's control over reality and the human mind. It represents the idea that the party can dictate what is true and force people to believe in false statements, even if it contradicts basic logic. These people didn't commit crimes, yet they are in a jail. 2 + 2 is 5. And it won't stop until somebody finally tells them to stop. Please stop telling us horrible, terrible, nightmare bullshit lies. But we can't do that because the press will just not be allowed to be in the White House anymore. They'll just kick the press out if anybody of them ask. If any of the people ask on Twitter, they'll get banned. They'll get removed because Elon owns it and can dictate who gets promoted and who doesn't. The TV news media will get will on their wieners. They're scared. Well, Waldo, what about MSNBC? Yeah, but their owners want to make money, and their owners make money being an opposition force to Donald Trump, but not taking him down, not getting rid of him entirely. They benefit. More people watch when Rachel Maddow does her epic owns and slam dunks him with facts and logic. They watch that. I dig it. I understand why you would. I've seen several of them myself. But that gets them money. They don't do that because it's right. They don't employ Rachel Maddow to stomp on him and dunk on him with facts and logic because it's the right thing to do. No. They do it to get paid. They do it for that sweet, sweet advertising dosh. That is why they do it. Not because of some sort of moral rightitude, some sort of moral righteousness, some sort of yearning for the truth. Nah, man. It's all about the dollars. Because capitalism ruins everything. It puts its hands in, it has tendrils in every single thing that exists. Even my own stream has a pay element to it. You can become a subscriber and stuff like that and give me $5. Or you could put tips. So you can go to the YouTube page and press the buttons. And then the algorithm will someday pay me maybe. Capitalism is poison to everything around it. And we are really ramping up. We are getting to the point of no return with this whole capitalistic poison thing. And we are either going to crash and burn and become, I usually say it's a Mad Max versus Star Trek. Those are our two choices. We're going to crash, we're going to burn, we're going to end up as Mad Max with the Immortal Joe giving out water whenever he feels like it and being in charge of a very hierarchical society. Or we're going to get to Star Trek and we're going to get some socialism. The people will get tired of the capitalistic bullshit. We'll overthrow the oligarchs and we'll implement something that's of the people, for the people, by the people. And we get rid of capitalism and do a better version of socialism. I mean, have you ever watched Star Trek? They don't have money. That's a meritocracy. Okay. If you're smart, they put you in charge of a damn starship. If you're doing a good job, if you prove yourself to be capable and intelligent, they give you a higher rank and then you do the job that you want. You have the authority, the ability to choose the job you want. You can look into your interests and stuff like that, but they don't do it for money. They just then turn into food and lodging and video games. They just get all that stuff. And I know we're very, 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 very far away from that, but we could work towards it instead of poisoning each other with capitalism. Donald Trump's deportations to South Sudan are more twisted than they seem. Good news, everybody. We're doing it again. I said this weeks ago. I said once the El Salvadoran gulag got famous, they would just stop sending people to the El Salvador and they would pick another country. I guessed Djibouti because Djibouti is fun to say, but they chose South Sudan. Let's read about this fresh hell. Immigrants' attorneys say they were told they were being deported to South Sudan, but Trump's lawyers won't say where the plane is, claiming everything is classified. The Trump administration is deporting immigrants to countries they aren't from and refusing to tell judges exactly where, claiming that the information is classified. On Tuesday, U.S. District Judge Brian Murphy ordered the government to maintain its custody of immigrants on a plane that the immigrants' attorneys said was headed to South Sudan, and said that authorities might be violating an injunction he issued in late March. The judge's orders came after a hearing in which administration officials refused to say where the flight was or even where it was going. Injunction. Remember that word. We're going to come back to that one in a few minutes. Lawyers for the immigrants told Murphy that at least 2 of them were told they were being sent to South Sudan, a country with instability, violence, and political unrest. Hey, sounds like America. That the State Department warns Americans not to visit. One Justice Department lawyer told Murphy that a Vietnamese man was deported but refused to provide any details about the flight, including how many other immigrants were on it. So a Vietnamese guy being sent to South Sudan, probably to another damned gulag. I'm told that the information is classified, and I'm told that the final destination is also classified. Perez responded, claiming that no court order was violated because the man wasn't afraid of deportation. What? He didn't feel scared. So there was no court order violation because the man wasn't afraid of deportation. They'll just say anything. They don't care what's real. But then Murphy and Perez, Murphy asked Perez, the authority the government was invoking to classify the location of the flight. I don't have that answer. Great. Murphy had ordered the government in March not to deport immigrants to countries they aren't from without allowing them time to challenge their removal in court. He warned the administration that any government official who took part in Tuesday's flight and knew about the order, including the pilots, could face criminal penalties. No, I'm sorry. The judge is telling you what the rules are, what the law is, and says, if you violate the law, I will hold you responsible, but the DOJ will just dismiss it. The DOJ has to do that. We put a criminal in charge of the law. The law won't work for very long. 10 past 11. Thanks for being here. Did you miss any nerd shit? Well, I'm talking about immigration, and we are going to discuss the budget later. Budgets are very nerd shit.
Immigration should be halted.
Immigration should be halted. We got a live one. Mini 3-ick? Is that mini dick? Do you have a tiny dick?
Penalty. I'd looking down at you over my glasses.
Immigration should be halted. Immigration is unhaltable. You can't stop it. Migration happened before any country existed. Human migration happened before borders were existed, before the country existed, before borders were a thing, before any country. Cavemans was walking from where it sucked to where it sucked less. Human nature. Can't stop it. Trying to stop it is silly. Trying to control it, we can do some of that. We can do some work on it to make it less chaos. We can do that. But halted? Nonsense. Madness. You don't even know what you're saying. Mini dick. Now we're just sending people to South Sudan for no reason. They're not from there. I'm willing to bet they're not going to just be released. They took a Vietnamese guy and sent him to South Sudan. It's probably not where he's from. He's probably from Vietnam. But are they just going to let him out on the street? Probably not. Sudan doesn't want that either. They think like mini dick here, that immigration ought to be halted.
Is immigration benefiting the people?
Yes, literally. Yes. Literally. Yes. We get lots and lots and lots of very cheap labor out of it. If you've ever eaten a salad, you have supported immigration, even illegal immigration. Have you had lettuce? Have you heard about these tomatoes? Picked by an immigrant for almost no money. Your country benefits from them paying into Social Security and then never getting the benefits, because they do. If they have one of those, even if they're one of the crazy, scary monster illegals who took someone else's Social Security card or paid a coyote for a fake Social Security card, they pay in and then they never get to take out. They never do. If you think that they're stealing your unemployment, that's because right-wing media lied to you.
That's bad. They're taking away jobs from citizens and then non-citizens are getting exploited.
They're not taking away jobs from citizens. Citizens don't want to do those jobs. It's very unlikely that anybody would pay minimum wage for these people to do this work. Also, it's good for them if we were doing it right. If we were doing a good setup like we had back in the 70s when the seasonal workers would just come across the border, do the work, and then go back across the border, it was fine. We would get the work, we would get the labor, they would get the money, they would take it home to their family, and they would take it with them, and then they would leave. That's what we had before the 70s, before everybody went insane, and the Republicans needed a boogeyman to scare you with, because that's what they've got. They've got some scary nightmare monster boogeyman that's around every corner, and they're lying to make you afraid. And then when they start shipping the people who didn't commit any crimes to South Sudan, you can feel better. That is all they're doing. They're manipulating the feelings of the conservatives. All the people on the right have their feelings manipulated. Right-wing media tells them to be afraid. Donald Trump tells them that he can solve the problem that they invented and isn't real by shipping these scary people away. And then he ships innocent people who haven't committed any crimes to a gulag. And then they clap. Yay! Because they feel better. All politics are based on feelings. Mine, yours, left, right, center, all of them. The only person who will tell you that, though. Let's keep reading. Based on what I have been told, on multiple occasions, the administration has sent immigrants to countries that they aren't from. That doesn't make it a deportation. It makes a rendition.
More people equals more demand equals more jobs. It should be easier to make them citizens so they can participate in the collective benefits of being a country.
Great idea. I also would push for a path towards citizenship. Have them come into the DMV. Have them come into a government office. Get their name. Document them. Find out where they live. Find out what they're doing. Find out what job they have. Charge them a fee. I don't even mind. Charge them an extra tax to become a citizen. That's fine. They have to pay for this system that we're building up for them. Great. Don't give them a tax refund for the next 17 years or 25 or how many years that it takes for them to pay that shit off. Don't give them a tax refund. Charge them a fee. Put their name on a list. Give them a special colored driver's license. I don't mind any of these things. That would give them a benefit, a goal. American citizens can do those jobs, says the guy who's probably paid someone to mow the eighth of an acre yard. Yeah, absolutely.
More people equals less jobs opportunity. How are you supposed to negotiate when someone is willing to take less pay?
The people need food. And when the more people want more food has to be produced. And when more food has to be produced, your demand goes up. I think I think that's an economic principle of some kind, right? More people means more demand. More demand means you have to have more jobs to do the work. And also negotiate. Talking like some sort of union member. Nobody negotiates anymore. There is no negotiation any longer. Corporations do all the negotiating and you eat it, or you fuck off, and you starve.
They are literally crossing the picket line.
I doubt it. That would require some sort of collective action. Picket lines don't exist anymore, man. They just are not real. The unions.
What picket line?
Exactly, yeah. The unions have gotten a little too big for their britches and only care about money and politics now. I like the idea of a workers' union. I really do. But when a government gets too big, the government becomes corrupt. When a company gets too big, it becomes corrupt. When a union gets too big, it becomes corrupt. When a YouTuber gets too big, they become corrupt. I'm still uncorrupted. Like, share, and subscribe. We all know the big names, and that's the fun stuff to watch and talk about. When a Hollywood director gets too big, they become corrupt. This is what happens with power and money and authority. I don't have any of that, so you can still trust me. But yeah, the unions don't do that anymore. Picket lines don't exist, and if they do, they're on a very small scale, and the right wing hates them. The right hates the picketing people. They hate the immigrants. They hate all the poor people. The poor people would picket to get more power and authority, and they would hate that. They would shut that shit down. Elon hates unions. This is rendition.
Ball.
It's a hater's ball. That's right. They aren't from these countries. So all over the world, including Rwanda, El Salvador, Costa Rica, Panama, the administration has resisted any attempts at oversight and even judicial orders to stop or slow their actions, refusing to turn planes around. Secretary of State Marco Rubio even claimed he doesn't have to listen to court orders. He doesn't think he has to. Weeks after a judge ordered the government to allow immigrants some recourse to challenge their deportations, Trump officials still won't listen. Will the courts have to enforce criminal sanctions against government officials to compel this administration to follow the law? Probably, but it won't work. The people who would enforce are the criminals. We hired a criminal to be the lead law enforcement agent. Donald Trump is in charge of the DOJ. The DOJ determines who commits federal crimes.
Exactly, because of immigration. It's simple math. Elon Musk actually wants immigration. Most of the economy takes advantage of immigrants instead of giving jobs to Americans.
Okay, 10 past 11. I'd like to negotiate my minimum wage job with my employer. On page 72 of the Trump's Art of the Deal, he always says negotiate, never back down. Yeah, good luck with that. 10 past 11. I know how that's going to go. They're going to kick your ass out. So what Mini Ick is saying, Mini Ike, perhaps. Maybe he's Mini David Icke. Because of immigration, it's simple math. Elon Musk really wants immigration. No, he doesn't. He wants people to come here he wants Indians to come here on paid visas because they've been educated. America doesn't educate people anymore because Republicans killed education in this country. Most of the economy takes advantage of immigrants instead of giving them jobs to Americans. The Americans aren't smart enough to do the job because, one, they're comfy and they're lazy. Two, Republicans have ruined education in America. Donald Trump is making education worse. He put a moron in charge of the Department of Education. He's going to tell you lies about what the Department of Education does. Is it perfect? No. Could they do a better job? Maybe. But you don't do a better job by putting a moron in charge and then chopping it off. Oklahoma is about to just start teaching the Bible. So follow me here, Maniac. Oklahoma, filled with dipshits, abandons math, reading, writing, arithmetic. They abandon all that shit. They don't have any use for that. They just teach the Bible. Are those people going to be able to get a job at Elon Musk's company? They're not going to be able to get a job at Elon Musk's company. What's his name? Ron DeSantis, down in Florida, is pushing to control everything that his colleges in Florida teach. He thinks they are his colleges. He thinks he owns them. And they won't teach proper education. They'll teach republicanism. They'll teach belief. They'll teach how anti-woke is really the punk rock and how great anti-woke stuff is. And they'll teach the 1790 Commission, whatever the hell that thing was that 1775. I forget the name of the Trump opposition to the 1615 Project thing. They will teach nonsense, bullshit, lies, 2 + 2 = 5, and then they won't be able to run anything. They won't be able to operate anything. Elon, being the billionaire that he is, will hire people with visas from properly educated countries to come here and work as second-class citizens. That's gross and disgusting. I hate that plan. If you want Americans to have these jobs, they will need education. We don't get that from Republicans. They hate education. They hate higher education. They want you to be stupider. They want your kids to be stupider. They don't want you to know anything because then you won't vote for Republicans.
And colleges outside Florida will have to offer Florida man remedial classes.
Absolutely right. I wouldn't be shocked if they're already setting those things up. If you show up, if you got into a college, I don't know, name in Kansas. Well, no. Kansas would already be pretty remedial as well. But if you went to Georgia,
immigration exploits everyone.
No, man. The fact that we're not documenting them and making them citizens leaves them open to exploits. If they were citizens, you couldn't exploit them. They would say no thanks and they would go to a different place. That's the negotiation you're talking about. If they had the ability to call the Better Business Bureau or the cops, if you're exploiting them, they would, but they can't because they're illegal. The immigrants are not the problem here. It's the people in charge of the system. The rich people, the billionaires like Elon, are breaking the system to hurt you. They're wrecking this system to make themselves richer. They are hurting and exploiting the poor people, you and me included, to make themselves more rich, more wealthy, to dodge taxes. Well, have you heard of the woke right? What does this mean? I don't know what a woke right is. The right-wing conservatives don't know what words mean. So if they're talking about woke right, they probably just made some shit up. Donald misuses the word woke all the time. What's the famous little joke? This engine is woke. I'm gonna look for that image right now. This engine is woke. There it is. Okay, so here we go. Everything I don't like is woke. A book for basic dickheads. This engine is woke. See, they don't use the word properly. 10 past 11. So if the right, somebody is saying I'm part of the woke right, or this is part of the woke right, they probably don't know what that word means. Conservatives don't know what words mean. They just say things. They have attached a feeling to the word woke, and anything they don't like and anything that gives them a feeling, they just throw that word at. So if there's an example, 10 past 11, by all means, tell me what it is. I will look at it and I will see if there's anything that can be gleaned from it. I wouldn't mind turning that into a little research segment.
The engine was a DEI hire.
The engine was a DEI hire. That's right. That was where was that engine built? Mexico? Hecho in Mexico? DEI car right there. So yeah, if you've got a link, throw it into the Discord, or try and link it in YouTube chat. I don't know if you can link things in YouTube chat. I have no idea. I barely know how the internet works. So let's keep on reading about the Democratic Representative LaMonica Ivor, charged after visiting ICE facility in New Jersey. So she went to the ICE facility in New Jersey. This is where they arrested the New Jersey mayor because he crossed a line onto the federal property. She was allowed to be on the property because she is a federal employee. She's a representative. So she's allowed to go there and inspect it. They hassled her. They hassled all the people there. And she invited the mayor of the city in which the ICE detention facility lives. Kind of would think that the mayor might have some shit to say about that, but he apparently doesn't.
Pretty sure woke right is an ironic name for right-wingers sort of making their own politically correct and doing active cancel culture, but I'm not 100%.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. The right wing invented cancel culture anyway. Conservatives have been using cancel culture for decades, man. The conservatives have been using cancel culture. If they found out that they cancel school teachers if they act inappropriately, they cancel cops who go to the sex shop, they cancel strip clubs, they picket line. The picket lines used to exist a long time ago. They would just boycott it, and if they found out that you went there, they would know what your truck looks like, and then they would hound you, and they would cancel people. They cancel people from their churches, they cancel people from their congregations if you do a thing that they don't like. They've been canceling people for a very, very, very long time. I've only seen James Lindsay and other people in his orbit tweet about it, but I'll find examples. Okay, cool. Yeah, James Lindsay is a gigantic, monstrous dipshit. He doesn't know what the words mean. He is an emotional manipulator. He is a conservative emotional manipulator. We need a catchy term for those. What are they? He's a Republican emotional manipulator. He manipulates the emotions. I don't know. We'll workshop it. We need a name for these guys. Grifter is sure, but the grifter suggests that he's doing it for money. I don't know that Jim.
Do you think an influx of millions of migrants would be good? Don't we have a traffic problem, housing problem, job market problem? How will millions of low-skilled workers help?
All in one day? No, that wouldn't help. That would complicate the system. Slowly and structuredly, you put them all in a program. You bring them in, you document them, and you find out where they have skills and what we could do with them. We would be fine with that. We can do it properly and intelligently, but we're not allowed to do things properly and intelligently because everybody's terrified of migrants. They're coming to get you. Poor people are not harming you. The billionaires are. The people who own the system, write the laws, and tell you where you can and can't live are the problem, not the poor people. If millions of
3 blind spot.
Yeah, is that yeah, I don't have where's the blind spot? Oh geez, Rick. Yeah, blind spot. The billionaires are harming you, but you can't see it because the right-wing media lies to you a lot. They lie to you about what's real. They lie to you about what's going on, and they tell you to be terrified of them. Traffic problems are a capitalist problem. Housing problem, capitalism. Job market problem, capitalism. How will millions of low-skilled workers help? By doing a lot of work for very little money. That leaves the capitalists to make some money, and they'll leave us alone. Maybe they'll be happy with it, but they'll take as much as they can because they are capitalists. What they do, capitalism is the problem with these issues. The housing problem is because capitalists don't want to make any more. They don't want to build anymore because that it raises the supply, and a raised supply lowers demand. Lower demand means lower prices, and they're not allowed to ever lower prices ever in any way, shape, or form. Oil prices go down. Most other prices never go down, ever. And the capitalists don't want them to ever go down. They do not want any price for anything to ever go down.
So what's the solution? Communism, LOL.
Slowly, we take some steps towards socialism. I know, it's scary. I know. And again, the right-wing media has poisoned your brain to hear the word socialism. Very slow, very small baby steps towards a socialist democrat idea, a market socialism. Follow me. Healthcare. Start with healthcare. Everybody hates it. Everybody hates healthcare. Everybody hates paying those premiums. Everybody wants not everybody wants a universal solution. Universal healthcare is a good idea. And if you stop letting the right-wing media poison your brain, you would think that it might be a good idea too. We could have ideas, Medicare for all. We could fund it. Then the public option is the first step. Public option. If you don't want to pay health insurance to a company, you pay it through your taxes to the government. That would cut down the profit of the for-profit health insurance.
That's a good point. Baby steps. But we cannot have a welfare state with open borders. Just ask England.
Well, we wouldn't have open borders. I'm not calling for open borders. Nobody on the left is. The right tends to lie about what we think. Nobody wants open borders. Controlled borders. If you come across here, be prepared to show us your identification, get your paperwork involved. We'll write down your name. Do you have a place to stay? Well, then why are you coming here? You're running from something? Okay, well, maybe we can find a ghetto for you to live in. Build a damned ghetto. I don't care. Build something for them to live in. Make them build it. Jesus, you've got 1 million people? Give them some direction. You're building houses. You're building a neighborhood right damn there. You're building the street. Make them build their own society, not society, but city. And if they finish it within 10 years or something like that, give them some time and some money off of their fines and fees, their citizenship fee. charge them a fee for becoming a citizen and tie it to their work in laying roads. The companies won't let you do that. The corporations that build houses would lose money because of that. The companies, the giant real estate moguls, would lose money. So that's why they're not doing it. Most of the bad things that we have in our country is because somebody's making money and won't let you fix it. We can't fix healthcare because of the CEOs at United, Aetna, and Blue Cross Blue Shield. Luigi shot a guy for that.
So we should not turn away any immigrants?
Through my system, probably not. Give them, we document them, find out what they are, find out if they're good at anything. Where do they live? Do they have family already in the country? Do they have anybody anywhere, or are they just completely alone? And if they are completely alone, have one of these millions of immigrants drive a bus full of them to a place out in where it's a bit unincorporated, to the dead center of our country. The towns in the center of the country are dying because they don't have people. And they've got no. It was the one during what was the one with the Haitians that J.D. Vance got so wrong about eating the cats and the dogs? What was the name of that town? I forget the name of the town. Why were those Haitians there? Because the town is dying. The Biden government gave a company a large amount of money to build their company, their manufacturing plant.
900 million people worldwide want to live in America. Have you been to the ER? Triple your wait time.
900 million people. Where are you getting this number? I think you're making that number up. Did you just ask all these people and say, do you want to live in America? And then they just said yes. I want a pony, but I'm not doing anything to obtain
full
one.
Number.
Even if it were like, I would like a pony, but I'm not like working hard to get one. So does Waldo want a pony? Well, kind of.
Thank you for following Giru Vargas 9. Smiley face.
Low figure says 160 million. Great. We'll figure it out. Thank you for following. You just turned a frog. You turned a frog. I hope you're proud of yourself. Giru Vargas 9. I hope you're proud of what you've done. You turned a frog. I'm proud of you. Good job. Low figures say 160 million. So you've got 160 million people who are actively trying to get here. Fine. Come up with a plan on how long it's going to take them, who can come in first, what jobs are needed, what jobs are necessary. Find a place. So
let's say it's 160 million, that's 160 mil people to build and work in hospitals.
They could build the hospital. Yeah, great. ER time would triple. Great. We're going to make them build more hospitals. If you want to be in America, then you have to help. You have to be a part of it. We could put that together and they would say yes. This wouldn't be slave labor. We would look at them in the face and be like, listen, help build the hospital. And they would. Damn. Why don't we do that? We can't get people to work, Americans to work in construction jobs because they want the money. These people want something more. They want it more. They're hungry. They're thirsty for that America. And so they would come here. We would have the benefit of their work. They would make our people better. They would build a hospital. They would build the roads. They would build the houses, then live in the houses, and then teach the next group how to build the houses. This is brilliant. This is great. We would have a better society. But we can't have that. The people who make the money would lose the money. The health insurance people would throw a fit because they don't want to lose any money. And the right-wing media would tell you that they're terrorist monsters. All for money. And they do that for money too. Because the Republicans want more money, more power, more authority, and then it spirals up forever.
We can't even fix Detroit. How are we gonna control 160 million people when we can't control 1 million people?
We can't fix Detroit because of human greed. Capitalism killed Detroit. Capitalism is keeping it dead. Capitalism is strangling that city to death. Yeah, all the problems that you have with Detroit are based on capitalism, on the failures of people being too damn greedy. companies that go under and harm their workers instead. The real estate market, which is damned expensive. Detroit, you joke about how terrible it is, but I bet you go there and the houses are $1 million fucking each. I bet they are. I bet in Detroit, houses are way too damn expensive. I bet the rent's too damn high in Detroit that you think is full of shit and full of terrible nightmare poverty. Capitalism ruins everything. The demand and the expectation that every company and every corporation will make more next year.
Most immigrants that come to America are conservatives. Most Latinos voted for Trump. Most Muslims voted for Trump.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. If they were less, I don't know, fearful and religious, they wouldn't do that. They did vote for Trump. Yeah. And it hurts them. Most conservatives, even the white ones, vote for Trump, and it hurts them. It empowers the people who are hurting them. I'm telling you, the billionaires are harming you. They're harming me. But I didn't vote for the billionaire party. I voted for the millionaire party. There's a difference. And I'm not happy with the Democrats either. They are the millionaire party, where the Republicans are the billionaire party. It's not fun. It's not a great plan, but it is the way that the system that we live in at the moment. And I wish I could change that. I wish we could, but money is the problem. Capitalism is the problem. Even a Democrat who wants to move to the left loses money. AOC and Bernie are the most left-leaning people in the Democratic Party, and they don't get money from corporations because the corporations don't want to give them any money because they are anti-capitalist. You can't make a bunch of money as a politician if you're running on an anti-capitalist platform. And that's where we are. We're at the right wing is the right wing party. The MAGA is the farthest right. The center Republicans, your Mitt Romneys and your old fashioned guys. John McCain would have been in the center, but he's dead. Then you have your Democrats in the center right. Most of the Democrats are to the right. I'm so far to the left that I don't think they're left.
And conservatives don't believe in free healthcare, free college, or even fixing potholes on the street. How will shipping millions of them to America further your cause?
I'm not saying that's the first thing we do. I told you the first thing we do is healthcare. Healthcare. Get everybody on board. Public option. Put the,
Bernie Sanders does not believe in open borders.
Neither do I. Nobody on the left does. Fox News will tell you different because they lie to you.
Trump gaslit a lot of legal immigrants into a pick-me stance.
Yeah, absolutely. That did happen too. So yeah, the healthcare bit, you have to do that baby step first. Public option. Get people on board with the public option. This will cut into the profit of those giant companies. Those giant companies will start charging their customers more, because they have to keep their profit margins up. If they dip, all of a sudden it'll be ruined.
I don't want to help people to further my cause. I want to help people to help people.
That's true too. Furthering your cause is not what I'm doing. I'm talking about how to make life better for human beings. Not winning the next fucking midterm. Would winning the next midterm probably help human beings? Yeah, probably. So we'll talk about that when it comes up. But you're gamifying the system a bit more than it ought to be right there. Good point, any of it. So yeah, socialize the medicine. The big healthcare people go out of business because their profits go down, so they charge the people more. That causes middle class people to not be able to afford it anymore, and so they get on the public option. Then that cuts down the profit of the corporation a little bit more, until there is only very wealthy people on there. And at which point they're like, why am I paying health insurance? I can just pay the doctor. Then we make it illegal. I really do think for-profit health insurance is a severe crime. It's a crime against humanity. And we ought to make it illegal. But I know we have to baby step our way into that. And if the CEOs don't make any money, I don't give a damn. If the people who work there are sad that they're losing their job, they can work for the government. They're the health insurance company.
They were not gaslight.
Yeah, they were.
They do not think liberally, LOL. Do you really think an immigrants from Afghanistan love progressivism? No, they align perfectly with MAGA.
Because they've been gaslit. If you live in Afghanistan and perfectly align with MAGA, you've got a cognitive problem. You have been lied to about what MAGA is, what it stands for, and you're gaslit. You know what gaslit means? It means they lied to you. And then when you challenge them on it, they'd say you're crazy. So they are not thinking properly. We have to educate them. See, it always comes back to education and capitalism. Always comes back to those two things, education and capitalism. So if the insurance companies go out of money, everybody's on board, maybe they won't feel bad about that whole socialism word. You know, they'll be able to change jobs more frequently, more acceptably. We will tax the people for it. And then when everybody's nice and comfortable with it, we socialize something else. Transportation, or perhaps, we already socialized the roads. So buses, transportation, high-speed rail. High-speed rail, that would be a good idea. We socialize that shit, and then everybody can benefit from it. And then they won't be afraid of socialization. And then while we're doing that and we bring in immigrants to do all that work, we give them a path toward citizenship. They work, they become citizens. Their kids are born here. They are now Americans. Very simple. And then the corporations make less money. Yeah, I know they do, but that's okay. It probably means that the Afghan views on things like gay rights and transgender, and that's probably true. The Afghan people are highly religious. They're, if they, I assume, we're talking about a broad generalization here about a conservative Muslim type person. They would come here and agree with MAGA on gay rights and transgender stuff, but they probably wouldn't know or care about the tax structure. They wouldn't give two shits about Christians getting special rights or anything like that. So they wouldn't agree with MAGA on everything. Would they vote for Trump? Maybe. Trump tells a lot of lies, and a lot of people want to believe them. Donald Trump lies constantly because the people he's talking to want to believe it. They want to hear it. It's not true. It's not based on facts. It's not based on reality, but it makes them feel good. I know lots of people that listen to Donald Trump and feel great. He's selling them a falsehood. He's selling them a story. Babies feel good when you read them a bedtime story. And that's where we're at. Most of the MAGA faithful have baby brains. And so he tells them the pleasant fictions, and it makes them feel good. This lady might be getting arrested.
Oh yes, because Afghanistan is a progressive super city. They think that women are second-class citizens. Score for MAGA. They don't want atheist or agnostics. Score one more for MAGA.
Okay. So you're telling me shitty people vote for MAGA? That's what you're telling me. If you're not progressive, they think that women are second-class citizens. Okay? MAGA's full of shitheads. I would like people to be educated so that they're not shitheads. I would like people to have a culture to be a part of that doesn't treat women like that, so that they don't grow up as shitheads. You're maniac here. You're losing to the shitheads. You're saying they're going to come here and be shitheads. Yeah, well, we can make them better, or we can make that illegal to do while they're in their way. We can ostracize them. You're talking about social issues. This is not a legal issue. This is not a tax issue you're talking about here. Treating women like second-class citizens is a moral issue. We can work that out of them. We can make it unacceptable within our society to do that. We can cancel them on Twitter.
He's saying everyone in Afghanistan are the same person, that person is bad, and that person also agrees with him.
Yeah, where is the flex? Exactly. Hey, all these terrible people agree with me. Not exactly the flex you think it is, boss. Hey, there's this whole country that I'm broadly stereotyping about, and they're all terrible. and they would vote for my guy. I'm going to keep on with the news. Basic elements of the story are straightforward. Earlier this month, a group of Democratic officials, including 3 members of Congress, visited Delaney Hall, an immigration and customs enforcement detention facility in New Jersey. The point, according to the lawmakers, was to conduct oversight, which a core congressional responsibility. So they're allowed to go there. Things did not go well, however. At Delaney Hall, there was a chaotic scene involving protesters, lawmakers, and Trump administration agents, culminating in Ross Baraka, the Democratic mayor of New Jersey, Newark, getting arrested. So he got arrested because they wanted to go in there. They're going to arrest this lady, maybe? Well, Haba, a former Trump lawyer and fashion model, claimed the mayor ignored multiple warnings to remove himself from the ICE detention center. Baraka soon after told MSNBC, after they finally told us to leave and I told them I was leaving, they came outside to the gate to arrest me. So it looked like it was targeted. So yeah, he did go in there. Then they said, you're not allowed to be in here, leave. And then he left. And then they went outside to arrest him because he crossed the line. He wasn't on base, so he wasn't touching base. He crossed the invisible line, the invisible barrier. You know how much ICE agents love borders. So he crossed that border, then left that border, but crossing it was a crime that needed to be arrested. So they yelled and screamed. They yelled at the ICE agents, and this representative got a little bit up in their face. She did get, I don't know if she shoved them. She just stood in their way, which I think there's a video of it, but we can watch it later. And if there is, I am absolutely on her side. Was she getting rough with ICE agents? Yeah. Good job, honey. High five. Good going. The ICE agents are the Gestapo. They're doing Nazi shit. We need to be stopping them from doing Nazi shit, from doing Gestapo garbage. We need to be preventing them from doing that. They are breaking the law. They are harming innocent people. They are putting people in gulags with no trials. Miniak, if you're still here, do the people who got sent to Venezuela deserve a trial? Shouldn't they have been put in front of a judge, given a lawyer, be allowed to mount some sort of defense? Should they have a sentence? They don't have sentences right now. They don't know how long they're in the El Salvadoran jail for, because they don't have a sentence, because they skipped all that judge stuff. That's a concentration camp, and I don't like it. I sure do wish our representatives would get in the way of the people building the concentration camps. But I'm just a crazy leftist. What do I know? So yeah, here is, there she is. The DOJ sending warnings to judges and lawmakers who stoke Trump's wrath on immigration. Criminal charges against a Wisconsin County Circuit judge and a New Jersey lawmaker are the latest examples of the president's provocative constitutional warfare. Across the Trump administration on immigration, and you will pay, because they want to hurt you. Donald Trump is using the rules and the laws and the government to hurt the people he doesn't like. He doesn't like immigrants, so he's using the government to hurt them. He doesn't like Democratic representatives, so he's using the law to hurt them. That is his plan. That is his entire operation. That's the message behind 2 prosecutions that Donald Trump's Justice Department has launched against officials in the co-equal branches of the government. Last month, prosecutors arrested a Wisconsin judge for allegedly helping an undocumented immigrant leave a courthouse. This week, prosecutors charged New Jersey lawmaker with an assault after a scuffle outside an immigration detention center. It's no coincidence that both of these cases targeted perceived opponents of Trump's signature issue. The president has pushed all manner of boundaries in his second term, facing off against the courts and Congress at every turn. But in seeking to enact his mass deportation plan, he has tested constitutional limits most brazenly. The criminal charges against Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan and Democratic Representative LaMonica McIver are the latest examples of Trump's provocative constitutional warfare. Judges and lawmakers have broad immunity from criminal charges connected to their official duties, and prosecutors historically have been reluctant to challenge that immunity. Not anymore, baby. There's nothing really to parallel this sort of full-on attack on the coordinate branches. They've opened another new chapter in interbranch relations. Not in a good way. It's not a good thing. They're not bragging that Donald Trump's done some new crazy fresh hell. They're kind of upset about it. They're sad, I suspect, and they don't like it. Trump's allies say he has an electoral mandate. The will of the people, the power of the people, the will of the people will always be his excuse. He'll lose the next election or something like that. And joke's on you, progressive cogs. Me and my Afghan brother Muhammad understand them women homos ain't got near business doing these fancy colleges and studying underwater basket weaving. Good point. 10 past 11. I appreciate your commit to the bit. I like it. But yeah, so they're coming after the people who disagree with Donald Trump, and if you get in their way, they will harm you. If you get in between the Gestapo and the victims of the Gestapo, you will be harmed, you will be sued, you will be chased down by the Department of Justice. I have to say that with quotation marks now. Anytime anybody says the Department of Justice, they have to do quotation marks. It is the rules now, it is the law, because they don't care about justice. They don't know what that word means. Again, conservatives don't know what words mean. They don't know what department means. Doge was not a department. Departments are passed by Congress, but they don't know that. They don't know what the words mean. Department. They don't know. Justice. They don't know what that word means. They think if they don't like you, you need to be harmed by the government. They don't like immigrants. The government needs to hurt them. They don't like Democrats. The government needs to hurt them. They don't like leftists. The government needs to hurt them. We don't like Venezuelans. The government needs to hurt them. We don't like gang members. The government needs to hurt them. We don't like weed smokers. The government needs to hurt them until they stop doing what they're doing or they leave. Those are the options. Those are the plans of a conservative government. Hurt the people you don't like until they either die, leave, or stop doing the thing that you don't like. They don't like trans people, so they use the government to hurt them. So we're going to wait to see if she's going to be arrested. They might arrest her, at which point we'll watch some videos of that. And here is Donald Trump misunderstanding what happened. So, as usual, Donald Trump is going to use some words incorrectly. Let's see what he has to say about this lady having charges filed against her.
Democratic Congresswoman.
Oh, give me a break. Did you see her? She was out of control. Did you address those days are over. The days of woke. The days of woke. No, I didn't. The days of woke are over.
The days of woke are over. The hell does that mean? Donnie, what does that mean? Woke is when you try to make the government stop blackbagging people. The day woke is when you try to hold the government responsible for their actions. That's woke, apparently. Guess I'm woke as shit. Woke is when you prevent concentration camps from being built in New Jersey. Woke is when you try to determine if the concentration camp that's in New Jersey is respecting people's human rights.
I did math. 23% of Americans voted for Trump. I don't think less than a quarter makes a mandate.
Absolutely correct. I respect your math, and even if you made up the number, I'm going to believe it. 23% of Americans, that sounds about right, because most Americans don't vote. Most Americans live in the center where they don't know what's going on. And if you think that 22% voted for Kamala and 1% just voted for Vermin Supreme like I did, I didn't vote for the Vermin Supreme, that's a joke, then that's what, 47 or so % of America voted? That's probably about right.
Asterisk chat P did math XD.
That's fine too. So that's about 47% of the people that could vote did vote. The other 53% or so don't give a shit because they don't pay attention. They're the independent voters. They're the people in the middle. They're not in the middle. They're unintelligent. No, not unintelligent. They're uninformed. That's what I'm going for. Some of them are unintelligent, sure. But mostly, they're not paying attention. I'm naming my next band Days of Woke. Days of Woke. The days of woke are over. So yeah, Days of Woke. Doesn't mean anything. He doesn't know what the word woke means. When you try to stop the Gestapo from arresting people with no due process, you're woke, it seems. He just saw a black lady and called her woke. That's what I think happened. Did you see her? He said. She was out of control. He saw a black woman use the word woke. I'm shocked that he didn't say DEI, honestly.
That woman, I have no idea who she is. That woman was out of control. She was shoving federal agents. She was out of control.
That applies to a bunch of the voters, too. A bunch just vote on for whatever side they always vote for.
Yeah, law and order. We're going to have law and order. He breaks the law constantly. Why do you think the judges are coming after you, Donnie? Because you keep breaking the law. Applies to a bunch of the voters, too. A bunch of just vote for whatever side they always vote for. That's entirely possible. And I think, yeah, some of those people are doing that. But they're not paying attention either. If you voted for John McCain and then Donald Trump, there's something wrong with your brain. Or you weren't paying attention. I think that's what it is. They weren't paying attention to John McCain and they thought he agreed with them. It's kind of like the EULA for when you start up a new video game or a software or something like that. You just scroll to the bottom and click I agree.
Old folks love Fox News.
They do love Fox News. And that tells them what they need to hear. It scares them into voting for the person that they think would make them the most money. That's what happens. Fox News doesn't do this out of morality. They're not doing this because they think that the things are correct.
Check out Waldo's videos. https://www.youtube.com/@waldospoliticalstream/videos.
Thank you, robot. So yeah, they're not doing it out of morality. They don't have any morality. They have money, and they want more of it. So by promoting the right-wing agenda, they get more money. They get more value. Because bullshit pays, man. The more lies you're willing to spread, the more money you will make. I don't know why that's the situation, but it seems to be. The more lies you tell, the higher you rise. I don't know why that makes any sense, but it does. So, yeah, they love that shit. They want more money, so they go on to Fox News. They tell the lies. They get the money. They tell the lies again. They get more money. They get more important, and then they get elected or brought into the cabinet, like Janine Shapiro and fucking Whiskey Pete Hegseth. Okay, we were supposed to talk about this tonight. Johnson faces 11th hour blow up on Trump's big bill. The big, beautiful, busty bill is blowing up. Any other B words so we can think of? The big, beautiful, bitchy bill is blowing up. House Republicans' internal negotiations on the one big, beautiful bill went south Tuesday night and early Wednesday morning, and the GOP hardliners publicly digging in their heels against the legislation. Some people are mad at Pastor Mike Johnson. He's nearing the blue state Republicans to raise the state and local tax deduction cap. They're arguing over things. So this is supposed to be how they're supposed to do it. They're supposed to argue over small stuff like this. Johnson and the group of House Republicans from New York, California, and New Jersey were close to a deal on SALT as of Tuesday night, Axios' Hen Nichols reported. This is the other reason you don't do one big, beautiful bill. But Johnny is a moron. He wants one big, beautiful bill because he doesn't want 7 small bills that do the same thing, because he has the mind of a child. He is too stupid. So instead of 7 small bills that could be argued back and forth with things like this SALT, whatever the hell it is, and this cap tax deduction thing, he doesn't know any of that, and they should break it up into smaller bills. But Donnie's a moron, and he likes the big beautiful bill because he's an idiot.
For this bill to pass, they have to cut Medicaid.
They will cut Medicaid for this bill, yes, and the poor people will suffer. They want poor people to suffer. They don't like poor people. Those poor people need to do more work for less money. and then give all that money to a giant corporation and fuck off and die. That's what they want for you. That is the conservative plan. Fuck off and die. Give us all your money. Earn some more money. Give us all that money. That is their entire, like, political party now. They're not doing anything else. Let's see. Yeah, and it would hurt Medicaid. It would hurt the people who are getting Medicaid, the people who need Medicaid. All of those things will be harmed if this bill passes. But they don't care. They like it. They want to hurt you. They don't work for you. Republican representatives do not work for their constituency. No. They work for the Republican Party, first of all, to get more cash and power. And they work for the donors. They work for those companies to give them the fat stacks of cash. That is what they do. That is what their entire thing is what they do now. They only need you for votes every once in a while, and they can get that by slurs. They spit out a bunch of slurs, and then they get a bunch of votes, and then they use their position to get more money and more power, and then they use the money to buy more slurs. It's a whole thing. We call it an economy. It's a great time. It's a great plan. So yeah, I don't know if the bill is passed. I don't know if it's going to pass. It will hurt Medicaid. It will add $3.8 trillion to the debt. You know, that debt that all the Republicans hate? They hate the debt. The debt is terrible. Donnie will make it worse. Of course he will, because he won't take in money. Here is a lovely little thing here. This is an infographic. It is filled with graphics and information. The income taxes over here on the left, $2.4 trillion. The payroll taxes, $1.7 trillion. Corporation taxes, $530 billion. Why is this so small? Corporation taxes, why are you so small? Corporation taxes, why are you so small? And then other. And it only goes to about here. And over here is all the money that the government has to spend. Social Security, good thing. Keep spending it, don't cut that. Healthcare, mostly Medicaid. Like we talked about, they're going to cut Medicaid. So we don't like that. We like it when people are healthy. We like it when people get medicine. We like it when people see the doctor. Don't cut this. Net interest on the debt. We have to pay this to not only to, this isn't just the Fed. Yes, we're paying the Fed, but this is also to bondholders and people who bought American bonds 20 years ago on the bond yields and all that shit. That's economy, and it's nerd shit, and it's very complicated. And probably not real and based on imagination, because of the whole economy is. But we can't dip out of it, you know. Medicare, $874 billion. We need that because that's the old people. They need this to live. Defense, $874. I think we could cut some of this down. Everybody seems to agree, and nobody will do it. Hell, the right wing even says, hey, cut that defense spending down. But nobody can, nobody will, and nobody wants to do it, and nobody ever wants to say it. Cut it down. But even if we did cut it down a little bit, it still wouldn't make up this big damn deficit. Income security, I don't know what the hell that's supposed to be. I don't know what that one is. Veterans get $325 billion. That is paying them for their service. The retired people get money. The retired people get health care from a military treatment facility and stuff like that. Education, $300 billion, which is still not nearly enough. Transport, $137 billion. That's running planes and trains and all that fun stuff. And other, $311 billion. So the other down here, can you guys even see it on the screen? Is it on the screen? I think it is. Or is it too low? No, it's down there. Okay. It says other. Other. This is what Elon thinks he was going to cut. Elon's a moron, so he doesn't actually know what these numbers are. Or what numbers are, ideally, or on the whole, he doesn't know what numbers are. Another $311 billion. This is what he thought he could cut with the Doge, because he thinks it's all fraud, waste, and abuse. It's not. It's money that goes to people or companies or things that make Americans' lives better. The lack, that deficit that you see right here, that is the fact that we're spending this much but only taking in this much. So even if we cut all of that, we still have a deficit. Even if we cut all of the transportation and the education and the veterans, we still have a deficit. I don't want to cut any of these things. Those are the things that a society needs to function. We need this blue bar to get longer. How do we make that blue bar longer? By taxing the rich, by taxing the wealthy, by taxing the corporations, and not in tariffs. Tariffs are stupid. They put the tax on the wrong side. It's putting horses behind your cart. Not the way it goes, man. You put the horses in front of the cart. That's how it works. Johnny's stupid and doesn't know that tariffs are a tax. He tells you that they're not a tax. You don't put the tax beforehand. You put it after they've made their profit. After the owner has made his profit, you tax his profit. You tax him after the fact. You tax his wealth. You tax his income. You tax his capital gains from buying and trading imaginary stocks that aren't real. He traded one imaginary stock for a different imaginary stock. Pay a tax. Fuck off. The investors, the investor class, are the actual parasites on our capitalist system. Capitalism has many flaws. And the biggest one that's being who paid some seed money and demand the biggest return. We can do without them. We can do without them entirely. But we can't. We can't change that part of the system because they write the laws. They have the money. They buy the politicians. They write the laws. And all the politicians are in on it. That's why they do insider trading. The Nancy Pelosi is not rich because of political grift. She's rich because she knows what's about to happen in the country and then buys stock accordingly and sells it accordingly. Capitalism and democracy are incompatible. Money gives you power. Power buys votes. Votes give you more power. The power gives you more money. The money gives you more power. And then you buy more votes. Up and up forever. Spiraling upward forever for eternity. And used to be, a long time ago, if you did something wrong or you committed a crime, or you looked into the camera and said habeas corpus is a thing that superpower the president has, we would kick you out of politics. That doesn't happen anymore. That shit is over. No more canceling people for the crimes they committed. No more removing politicians when they lie to the people, blatantly and obviously. No more throwing people out of the halls of power just because they're horrible nightmare people who do crimes. We don't get to do that anymore. Let's see. So budget. Oh, yeah. And the budget is even worse because, where was it? I think it's going to, shit. Way to fail, Waldo. There was something else snuck into the bill. I'm looking for the link now. That it's going to change the legal system too. So this big, beautiful bill that we just talked about might actually change the legal system itself. I'm looking for the link where I read it. Shit, I lost it. Shit, where'd it go? If you're watching, hop in the chat. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you're feeling. I'm rambling while I'm looking for this thing that I lost. I lose links sometimes. Doop. Wonder where I saved it. Thought I had it. But anyway, it's going to get rid of that injunctions. That was the word. Let's Google that. Big, beautiful bill injunction. There we go. I found a story. Wait, I think Axios might be better. That's the one I wanted. There it is. Astounding GOP provision in the big budget bill. So the big, beautiful budget bill will also have this bad bitch provision in it. I can't think of another B word. The goal is to stop frivolous lawsuits, according to the committee spokesperson. That committee spokesperson is a liar. U.S. House Representative Joe Neguse.
I think the basic idea of capitalism is fine, it just needs to be regulated better. Profit margin caps would go a long way.
And I can totally respect that. There are only two real powers: economic power and people power. So if I pay someone to move my couch, they will. I can find someone to move my couch for money. I mean, maybe if I have enough, I can get lots of people to move my couch wherever I want it. And they can do a good job, and I can give them money. Economic power, it exists. Or I can use people power. I can call my friend over. I can buy them pizza and beer to help me move a very heavy couch. I've done that in the past. You have too. That's people power. Now, when you extrapolate this out, what you get is corporations and government. The corporations have giant hundreds of thousands of people sometimes working towards a goal of producing a product. They have managers, they have middle managers, they have HR, they have people in charge of quality, they have shipping, they have receiving, they have advertisement. All of this is to make that money, make that profit. They pay you to produce for them. Great. Economic power. Government power fixes the potholes in the road. If you've got a road, the government should be taking care of it. The government is the only thing that is the opposite power of that economic power. So the government has to make laws and regulations to control the unstoppable greed that will come from the unchecked capitalism. So yeah, you need rules and laws from the government run by the people to benefit the people. But right now, our capitalism is running amok. It is paying the politicians. Elon was even paying people to vote, and nobody gives a shit. And he didn't pay them, by the way. I don't know if you've seen that fucking thing. He promised them money if they vote, if they sign up to vote. He was paying them to vote. Everybody knows it, and nobody doesn't know it. He was definitely paying people to vote. And then when they did, and then they asked him for the money, he's like, nah, not so much. He didn't give any of the people, there's a lot of the people. They've started a class action lawsuit because they didn't get paid. He's gone. Who cares? What are you going to do? Sue him? Fuck off. The DOJ will just dismiss it. He owns the government now. Can't sue him. Anywho, we're talking about nationwide injunctions. Why it matters. Nationwide injunctions from lower courts have grown common, starting with the Obama administration and exploding in President Trump's first term because he does the most crimes, you see. This is a deep deviation from the existing federal law, and I find it astounding. I imagine there will be lots of limited government advocates who will find deep reasons to be concerned about this type of provision because, as you can imagine, it will preclude folks from being able to vindicate their constitutional rights. So what is this talking about? This is very big nerd stuff, 10 past 11. I hope you're still here. This is some of the nerd shit. The realities of the GOP lawmakers are including a provision in the budget bill speaks volumes of how much those in power in the nation's capital are thinking about the consequences of defying judges as the battle between the Trump administration and the courts escalates. They don't want federal judges to be able to stop the president. That's what they want. They don't want a judge to say the government can't do that and stop it from happening. They want it to continue to happen. And if it hurts you, if it harms you, then you go and sue the government. The judges can't protect you ahead of time. No, 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 no. According to their plan, Donnie can sign whatever he wants. It can break all the laws. It can abandon the Constitution entirely. Gun grabbers would freak the fuck out if Obama said anything like that. The gun nuts would literally start shooting at the White House if Obama said these things, because they would see it for what it is: authoritarianism. If we were an evil Marxist, socialist, radical, Nazi, nationalist monster that they said Obama was, the terrible Marxist, authoritarian right-wing guy that he was. They said all the things about him. None of it was true. But if we imagine for a moment, we put ourselves in there, We pretend to be the person they say he is. We're swimming in George Soros's money. It's not true, but we're going to pretend for a minute. And what would we do if we were that person, that evil, terrible nightmare person that they said Obama was? We would say that the Second Amendment no longer applies. We would write it onto an executive order and say, no more Second Amendment. The judges would stop that unless the Republicans get what they want, in which case the judges can't stop that. So the jackbooted thugs would stomp into your house and steal your guns. And then you're allowed to sue the government. That's how that system would work. But we're not going to do that because Donnie's in charge. So it's going to be about immigrants. Donnie's going to get, if this bill passes and they get rid of the injunction, Donnie's going to pass and write an executive order that gives ICE way more power and authority than they have ever had. DHS is going to have way more power and authority than they've ever had before. It will be unconstitutional. Then their jackbooted thugs will kick in the doors of poor brown people, drag them off to the gulag, and then they will be allowed to sue the government. And the judge can't stop it ahead of time. Donnie's going to pass the jackbooted thugs kick in your door act, and the judge can't stop it. If we have the injunctions, as we do now, they can and say that's illegal, but they can't under this new plan that the Republicans have. The Jackbooted Thugs Act will just be jackbooted thugs kicking in your door, dragging people off to the gulag, and then when you're in the gulag, after they harm you, after they hurt your constitutional rights, after they don't give you the due process, then you're allowed to sue the government. But you can't because you're in a gulag. You see the problem of not having the laws vetted until after it hurts people. It's insane. And the conservatives are insane. They want bad things for you. They want bad things for the people that they don't like, and they will abandon the Constitution to get it. They love the Constitution so much. Conservatives love the Constitution so much that they will destroy it to hurt the people they don't like. That is conservatism. That's what they do now. They claim to love the country, yet they want to burn it down. They claim to love the Constitution, but they tear it apart. They claim to love legal immigrants, yet they send them to the gulag anyway. I'm starting to think that they can't be trusted. Do I have anything else to look at tonight? Oh, hey, here's the legal resistance. I did have the thing up. So there it is. Let's see. If there's anything else important to go on tonight. I'm about done for tonight. Oh, hey, look, here we go. Being a terrorist pays. Let's turn that into a segment. That's a good title. Being a terrorist will get you paid. If you terrorize the American government for Donald Trump in his name, he might pay you. Trump has agreed to pay $5 million to the family of January 6th rioter Ashley Babbitt, the terrorist. Trump is rewriting the reality of what happened on Jan 6th with taxpayer money. The Trump administration is planning to pay the family of January 6th rioter Ashley Babbitt, she's a terrorist, to settle a lawsuit. The Washington Post reports that the family of Babbitt, who was shot and killed by a Capitol police officer, shot someone attacking our government. My government was attacked by Ashley Babbitt, and a law enforcement officer shot her. He was found to have acted appropriately. He didn't break any of the laws or the rules that dictate Capitol police officers. He did everything correctly. She was trying to break in through a broken glass panel and the barricade speaker lobby doors, and the lobby doors inside the Capitol. They've reached a settlement with the Department of Justice, which is no longer, which I have to call Department of Justice. Earlier this month, the terms of the settlement had not been disclosed until two unnamed sources spoke with Post Monday. Of course, they leaked it because everything leaks out of the Donald Trump administration because it's insane. The people in the administration, the lawyers who are working there, just see insane stuff every day, and they go to the press and they're like, listen, you will not believe this insane shit that we saw today. Never trust. Yeah. She is a terrorist and she's getting money from you. If you pay American taxes, you helped to fund a terrorist who is anti-American. The settlement reverses a 2021 DOJ finding that Babbitt's civil rights were not violated, and it was reasonable for the officer who shot her to believe he was acting in self-defense or the defense of the members of Congress. The 2021 DOJ is no longer there. Anybody who was there is now fired or sacked or replaced by Trump loyalists. This is why you can't hire criminals to run your Department of Justice. Donald Trump is a criminal, and he is running the Department of Justice. It's just going to break the law. And anybody who benefits him is just going to get pardoned. If Ashley Babbitt were still alive, he would pardon her and try to put this police officer in jail for doing his job. Because you're not allowed to do your job of law enforcement if the person on the receiving end is a Trump supporter. You have to ignore it. You have to allow it. U.S. Capitol Police Lieutenant Michael Byrd was also cleared by a Capitol Police investigation, which found that his actions potentially saved members and staff from serious injury and possible death from a large crowd of rioters who forced their way into the U.S. Capitol and the House chamber where members and staff were steps away. 1/3 of the settlement will go towards the Babbitt family's lawyers, which include right-wing legal group Judicial Watch and Richard Driscoll. There you go. Money, 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 money. It's all about the money, SpongeBob. SpongeBob, me boy, it's all about the money, 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 money. An attorney in Alexandria, Virginia, conservatives led by Trump, have tried to rewrite the narrative. Yeah, they're lying about what happened in the past, minimizing the violence of the rioters who sought to overturn the results of the 2020 election and paint them as victims who were unfairly punished by the justice system for supporting Trump. Supporting Trump isn't a crime. Kicking down the doors of the Capitol building is a crime. Breaking the things that are in the Capitol building is a crime. Forcing your way in there with the intention of changing my vote. I wish I hadn't hit my chin on the thing. Forcing your way in there to change my vote is a crime. So she was dealt with by an armed police officer appropriately. But we're going to ignore that because she was doing crimes on Donald Trump's behalf, which is now allowed, legal, and cool. If you do crimes on Donald Trump's behalf, you will get paid. You will be handsomely rewarded. You'll be pardoned, and they will give you a new show if you survive on Fox News. You get to go on Fox News if you live, assuming. It's just that DOJ now is in Trump's pocket and does everything he says, and he's a criminal. You're less likely to face armed opposition. So the coup is complete. It's over. It's done with. But will the people allow it to continue? I'm not sure. It's still up in the air. So I'll be watching. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Hi, White Tony. Thanks for coming in. I'm about to wrap it up. It's 9 o'clock. I usually knock off around 9 o'clock on a Wednesday night. So thanks for being here. I got 2 new followers today, I think. And we had a fun time with a conservative type. I don't know what type you were. You didn't say, but I would assume Mini Ick was some sort of a conservative type person in the Twitch chat. So if you're watching, if you're paying attention, hop into chat. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you're feeling. Go on over to the YouTube page. YouTube. You can go to the YouTube page and watch all of these videos. I take these streams, I compress them, I crunch them down into smaller little bites so that the YouTube algorithm will show them off to everybody. Go on over there, tell them, and leave a comment or some hatred or break the thumbs or something like that. Go on over to the Discord. You can go to the Discord. Discord isn't as good as Discord.
Discord.
There it is. Go on over to the Discord and tell me what you're thinking, tell me what you're feeling. Leave a link. If you put a photo of your dog, I'll put it up on the stream. It's a fun time. If you leave a link to a news story, I'll put that up on the screen and we'll feel it all together. It'll be interactive. It'll be a good time. And that is it for me tonight. I appreciate everybody who was here. Thank you for coming. And I am about to kind of drop it off. All right. Wait, do I have anybody to... I don't. All right. I'm going to... Wait, hang on. I do have somebody to stream to. Oh, my God. Where's the button? Oh, God, where's the button? Don't leave. Oh, my God. we're going to raid ADHD debater. Though I've never debated him on anything. Where's the buttons? I think I did that right. I think I did it right. I hope I did. Go on over there and say hello.